I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Range from XDP.
This is Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
Corey Willis from PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
Diesel Podcast.
You're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
The Diesel Podcast.
The one and only Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? Before we get to the podcast, we want to thank two companies that make it possible for us to do these, to bring you guys the stories, to talk about the parts and everything. BD Diesel, they've been around forever. These guys are on the cutting edge of innovation, and they've been doing it for a long time. If you're looking for parts for your truck, just go to dieselperformance.com. It's real easy to search for your year, make, model, different categories. And on the tuning side, we want to thank PPEI. The guys at PPEI are world-class with what they do with tuning, customer service, and they're constantly innovating and looking at things they can do to add new features to their tuning platforms. Just go to ppei.com, and you can search by year, make, and model. All right, Danny, man, we've got a cool podcast episode today.
We're doing it again, Patrick. We're doing it again.
Doing it again, man. Staying busy, bringing people diesel builds and truck talk, man.
Love it.
We got Ryan on today. You were telling me about Ryan, Danny. You're really excited about his truck and what he's doing, and we're pretty pumped to have you on today, Ryan.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Tell us. You've got a Cummins, right?
Yeah, it's a fourth gen 4-door with a 6.4 deck plate motor in it, Cummins in it. Building it to compete in UCC Qualifier this year, so it's been strictly a drag truck before, but now we're gonna hopefully make it pull a sled, I guess.
Nice. I love the 4-gens. Those are my favorite.
Don't see too many of them out there, especially 4-doors, going as fast as we're going anyway so far.
And when you got the truck, did it start as a project truck, like you knew you wanted to build it, or did you just kind of, it's like you get, some custom tuning and then you get bored with it and you're like, well, I want a turbo, and then you get bored with turbo. Well, I want some different injectors, and it just kind of snowballs from there.
No, I bought the truck brand new in 2012, and just as a daily driver. It was a Laramie and the whole deal, fully loaded truck, and I drove it for a year and a half-ish, and then my variable vane piled up on it, and I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to do with the truck, and I talked to Zane at H&S Motorsports, and that was when we come up with the first triple kit that we did. Was triple 64 mils, because it was supposed to be a street truck at that time, right? And that, and we teamed up with Lenny at Dynamite Diesel and Donovan at Armor Inc. We did a 48 swap on it, and that's when the truck started. We kind of just jumped in with both feet, so.
Sounds like you've surrounded yourself with a lot of great people in the industry already.
Yeah, when I talked to Zane there, he kind of recommended a few people, and when I needed a tranny, Donovan was the first guy I went to, and formed a pretty good relationship with all those guys since, for sure. And it's been awesome. They helped me out a ton.
As far as the transmission setup and like the air and the fuel, you had this triple setup, and we chatted with Lenny, and Dynamite has awesome injectors. Like what those guys can do and how precise they are is really amazing. We've had Lenny on the podcast a couple of times, and he's talked to us about that. But how did you go from that to UCC? What kind of process was that? Just as far as planning it, thinking about it, kind of putting a game plan together.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, at that time, that was a couple of years ago, and we were just kind of starting to get going. And I still had a 6.7 ECM, those smaller turbos and stuff, and it made 1,000 horse then. And the truck did pretty good, but the truck was still a full truck, like 7,800 pounds kind of deal, right? So it was hard to go fast at that kind of weight. So we just wanted to go faster and faster. It didn't really know anything about the UCC at that time, right? But drag racing was what I liked doing. So that's when we back half the truck and started stripping everything and got it down to where it is now. And then last year is when Donovan had been going, I'm pretty close with Donovan, and he was going down to UCC and doing that, and I thought that was pretty cool, right? So it's kind of like, well, how do I get to do something like that and compete at that level, right? And then they came out with the qualifier, and it was like, oh, well, here's our in, right? So, and then that's when the truck took a turn to go as much power as we can make and as much as we can do, right?
That's awesome.
So you're up in Canada, and I don't want to pry into your personal information, your personal life, but through the grapevine, I heard that you and Kelsey F have had some eyes for each other.
I guess you could say that. She, her truck came to my place to get a cage, and we did a triple setup on it and stuff. So, yeah, she should be doing pretty good this year in the qualifier too, hopefully.
Unbelievable! Congratulations on that. I've met Kelsey. I've had a chance to talk to her a lot, and she's a great person. And I hope the best for both you guys.
Yeah, no. Pretty good, pretty cool chick. Couldn't ask for much better, for sure.
No kidding. She's definitely heavily invested in the diesel industry. But maybe you can explain to us here in the States how much different it might be for a Canadian to have to do all this stuff and then bring it down to us to compete.
Well, yeah. I mean, dealing with mostly American parts and stuff, right? I mean, cost-wise is a little bit different for us to ship stuff back and forth and wait times and stuff like that, right? But, I mean, I guess I build most of my stuff in our shop, fabrication-wise, right? But hard parts and stuff, yeah, it's a little different because we're kind of in a different area, right? Waiting for stuff to come back and forth across the border and that kind of stuff, right? We're not as close, I guess, to the where everybody does all this stuff, right? So it can be challenging for sure. And I mean, wintertime, we have no testing, right?
Yeah.
8 months of winter, basically, almost, right? So that's I guess it gives us time to build, but not as much time to test and do all that kind of fun stuff, right?
That's what I was just gonna say. Like I have met Kelsey actually at the ATS Dyno Day a couple years ago, so I got to see her truck and talk to her about it and some other competitors in UCC or Diesel Power Challenge, and they said that too. It's like there's a lot, winter's longer, and there's not as much test time, and then you got to wait for things to go from here to there, and the exchange rate and everything. There's unique challenges, so but there's so many crazy truck builds and powerful trucks that come from Canada, and sometimes down here we don't think about, well, you don't have all year to race. You're not in Florida or Texas where it doesn't snow per se and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool to see, trucks like yours and the process for how you guys get them to this level.
Yeah, it makes things challenging that way for sure. I mean, got lots of guys that they don't care that I'm on the other side of the border. They'll help me in any way they can, right? So that helps big time too. So
that's a really cool thing about the diesel community. Danny knows is it doesn't matter where we're from or even necessarily what brand of truck we like. It's we're passionate about the sport and the competition and the power and the companies and the people, and it brings us all together because we have this love for diesel trucks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we're all climbing the same mountain, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's awesome.
So maybe I want to be maybe a little naive here and be a little more beginner level asking this question. So our listeners may not know what a UCC qualifier is. Do you qualify and compete that day? Do you get to qualify for the next year? How does the UCC qualifier setup work?
Well, we run, we come down for the same 3 days as UCC, and we basically run right beside those guys. We do all the same events. all the same, everything basically. The same days, we have the same rules pretty much. Everything is identical. We're basically running beside them. So to me, I guess, coming down there, it's like, I guess I'm competing with them right off the get-go, right? Because when you get top 5 in this, then you go next year to you have your spot in the real UCC, like the official UCC with all those guys, right? So
I see it. And this being the first year, you're blazing a trail here, and so how many other people in your life you got Kelsey, you've got yourself, do you know anybody else up by you that's trying to accomplish the same goals?
There's an armor truck that's coming down, Mark Robertson, he's coming down, and I think there's one other Canadian truck that's going to be a qualifier. That's actually a 25.6 cert, which is a 799 cert truck, which is actually, my truck's an 850 cert. So that's, to get to that other cert, to run that much faster, you have to be under 5,000 pounds, and your roll cage has to be way more in-depth than what I'm running. So there's definitely a couple wild cards that are coming to the qualifier that are really swinging for the fences. That should be awesome to see, right? Because if they work, then it will be pretty awesome, right? So definitely we'll all be competing against the big guys, right? So
it's really cool. I love this new addition that UCC has, where people can qualify for it, and like you said, do the same events, the same things. You're doing it, and then have a chance to compete against these other guys like the Von Millers and the Derek Roses and all the guys that are that were in it last year and the year before. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, these guys, like even the H&S guys and Armor guys and all of them, they were like kind of like our idols almost, right? Because they're awesome, right? And coming a couple of years later and coming down to like compete with them is that's pretty big change in a couple of years, right? So that feels like pretty big accomplishment. So
yeah, for our listeners out there, a lot of them will, after we have an episode, be like, man, I really love this episode. Where can I see updates on the truck? Where can I see all these things? Do you have a social media like Instagram or Facebook where you talk about the truck and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow on Instagram. It's Phaff, PHAFFPHAB. And yeah, I'm posting pictures on the truck pretty much constantly as we're going through the builds, and we'll be firing it up here this week. It's ready to roll pretty much. So, and then we're going to take it down to actually industrial. Ryan Milliken's going to meet me there, and we're going to dyno it in and get her teamed up, and I'll actually be going to the ATS Gauntlet here to compete at that dyno event. So
wow,
nice. I'm only like 5 minutes from ATS, so I was gonna go to the dyno day, so I'll make sure and stop by and say hi and check out the truck in person.
You betcha, it'll be there. So hopefully all goes well, and you never know, right? Trying to make over 2,000 horsepower or anything could kind of throw a hitch in the plans, but taking all the precautions, I guess, and putting all the good parts in it to hopefully do it. So see how it goes.
You definitely got a good team around you. I mean, you got everything there, and yeah, it's really cool. I got the ATS Gauntlet event. It's like a lot of the UCC trucks, or the diesel power trucks are there, and you get to see them. It's like sometimes the first time out, as well. Like when I saw Kelsey's truck run a few years back, I don't think it was like the first time she dynoed it that year, but it was new, it was different, especially with the elevation here, and just the ATS dyno is so stingy. It's like the heartbreaker, And
that's what everybody's kind of told me. So I'm kind of a little gun shy for sure, but did some upgrades this year, so hopefully they all pay off anyways.
Definitely. No, that'll be cool. I look forward to see. I think Danny, weren't you you're gonna try to check out the was it the Dyno Day, the ATS Dyno Day, or for the Diesel Challenge?
The Diesel Challenge. I was trying to get out to that. The Diesel Power Challenge out by you as well. Everything's all out by you, Patrick.
No, it's where you're at. You guys in the Midwest got it all out there.
I can't say that. We have it rough.
Oh, ATS is 12 hours for me, so it's a little bit of a drive, but not too bad.
What are the horsepower goals and torque power numbers that you're trying to shoot for on this truck?
I mean, at UCC, I guess I made 1850 last year kind of deal with a few bumps in the road, so now we got those ironed out, and I'd like to see 2300. To me, it's all there to do it, so that's kind of what we're shooting for sure. And torque-wise, I mean, if you're getting up around that 3,000 foot-pounds, you're probably looking for cranks to fail and that kind of thing, right? So you don't want to do that the first day we're out. So.
And we wish you the best of luck. Phenomenal build. I hope that all of our listeners log on and, connect with you on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot, because you do have a phenomenal deal going on up there, and I want to commend you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. A lot of work, and hopefully she starts paying off here in just the next couple months anyways.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I look forward to seeing the truck make a run on the dyno.
You betcha. It'll make lots of noise and maybe a little bit of fire, too.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. We really appreciate it.
You betcha.
Don't forget, guys, make sure and check out BD Diesel at dieselperformance.com and check out PPEI tuning. Just go to PPEI.com. You guys can find anything you need. Make your truck go faster, tow better, lower EGTs. They've got everything. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.